Your son was in an accident and has been taken to the hospital. Can you come right away?
My heart jumped at the sudden phone call. Why would something like this happen? Is this some kind of prank?
My son.
Pardon?
Well, I'm coming.
I don't understand what's going on. Still, my instincts are telling me I have to go right now. My name is Rory Wilson, 43 years old. I work as an office employee. My husband, Jeremy, is 10 years older and is my boss at the company, the son of the president and the heir to the next generation. 10 years ago, he approached me at a company social event, and our relationship developed smoothly. We got married in no time. Shortly afterward, we were blessed with our son, Mark. After the pregnancy, I quit my job at Jeremy's strong insistence, becoming a full-time housewife, busy with doing household chores and raising a kid every day. My husband is a typical workaholic, and housework and parenting were solely my responsibilities. Even when I had a high fever, he was reluctant to change Mark's diapers. Still, he is the next president, so there's no help for it. The pressure of his work must be incomparable to that of an ordinary office worker. Moreover, I think it's thanks to him that we have a stable life with a substantial income, so I endured it all on my own. My domineering husband was picky about the variety of dishes, keen on cleanliness, and strict in checking me when he found something I couldn't do. Moreover, seeking help from my mother was not allowed, leading to many times when I felt mentally cornered. Still, accepting his rebukes quietly was probably largely due to him being my superior at work.
Give me today's report,
he would say every day when he returned home from work. He would ask me to report on the events of the day and the tasks I had performed, and he wanted it broken down by time, almost like task management. At first, I couldn't do it well and received rebukes. Still, once I got used to it, he praised me, and afterwards, he would spend time with Mark happily. On good days, he would even do things like bringing back a cake. When that happened, our son would show a very happy face. It's a peculiar marital relationship, but I manage somehow, and maybe it's okay this way, I thought. However, our lives took a drastic turn when our beloved son was diagnosed with leukemia. Mark was diagnosed just before his 3rd birthday. From that day on, my life changed completely. Every day was spent supporting my son through the tough battle with illness. To supplement the medical expenses, I started working part-time at night, sacrificing sleep. Normally, if one's child were in such a situation, parents are expected to support, but unbelievably, my husband didn't change his attitude at all. He continued to demand perfect housekeeping as before. I couldn't prepare the meals he wanted, and I spent my days relying on ready-made meals and deliveries. Cleaning and laundry became impossible, and the house was in a state of neglect.
Recently, I've noticed a sloppiness in housekeeping. What's going on? What's going on?
I couldn't believe my husband, who casually asked even though there was only one reason. I explained that I was physically and mentally exhausted from taking care of our son and working part-time for additional income to cover medical expenses. But his response was beyond belief.
In the first place, medical treatment is something doctors and nurses should do. There's no need for you to invest time and effort. Those who can't do their job spend unnecessary time elsewhere, neglecting their primary duties. Do you mean taking care of Mark is unnecessary?
Ignoring my stern gaze, he continued, undaunted.
As for your daily reports, continuous caregiving, and part-time work, there's nothing more to it than that. There's no progress. You're just incapable of doing your job.
He said it dismissively and went back to the bedroom. Left alone, I trembled with anger. Such words, even towards his own child. Instead of expressing concern, He dismisses caring for our son as unnecessary, complaining that he doesn't have time for his own care. Despairing at his attitude, I couldn't entertain the thought of an immediate divorce amidst our son's current situation. We continued to argue many times thereafter, and our marital relationship steadily deteriorated. Naturally, my husband never showed any concern for our son, or took care of him. At least, I desperately continued to care for Mark, but leukemia's symptoms mercilessly continued to erode him. Then, when he was 8 years old, he finally passed away. At his funeral, Jeremy expressed his grief and shed tears. He showed some concern for my worn-out state, and thankfully, there were no demands for household chores for a while after the funeral. Honestly, now that our son was gone, there was no point in being with a cold person like him. Still, unable to take the step towards divorce, perhaps it was because he unexpectedly showed some consideration, and the fear of being alone, with the loneliness of losing Mark. One day, he left his mobile phone at home when he went to work. He would probably receive work-related calls, so should I bring it to him? As I debated, the phone suddenly rang, and I instinctively answered it.
Is this Mrs. Wilson? This is the Municipal General Hospital.
The sudden call was from the hospital. The shocking content was enough to move the fate of my worn-out life.
Your son has been in an accident. Can you come right away? What?
I responded with a bewildered voice, and the nurse on the other end asked again, sensing my confusion.
Is this Mr. Jeremy Wilson's phone? Yes, that's correct. Oh, good. The contact information your son mentioned was here. Are you his mother? Can you come to the hospital right away?
Even after hearing the explanation again, I still didn't understand what was going on. My son? Mark? What kind of mistake was this? Mark passed away 5 years ago, didn't he?
Hello?
As I struggled to respond, the nurse on the other end spoke, with a hint of impatience. I pondered for a moment. Should I tell them that my son passed away 5 years ago? However, my intuition whispered that I should rush there immediately.
No, I'll come right away.
Even though I thought it couldn't be true, my heart leapt. It felt as if I could see Mark again. Upon reaching the hospital, I was guided to a room where someone claiming to be my son awaited. As I looked back at the young boy, my breath caught in my throat.
Mark.
Though he looked different upon closer inspection, the boy had a similar aura to my deceased son.
Excuse me.
He seemed to be around middle school age, with flushed cheeks and a nervous yet determined expression, as he mustered the courage to speak.
I'm sorry. Are you, by any chance, my dad's wife? Huh?
The boy shrugged apologetically. What he was about to say would significantly alter my destiny. The boy's name was Cairo, a grade 7 student. If my son were alive, he would be around the same age. However, Cairo had a frail physique, despite being a boy. Shockingly, Cairo revealed that he was my husband's secret child. His mother worked at a bar and started a relationship with Jeremy before we got married. The affair continued even after our marriage. When Cairo's mother became pregnant with him, I was pregnant with Mark. It seemed that my husband led a double life, with meticulous care to avoid detection. However, Cairo claimed that he never felt love from his parents, since he could remember. Jeremy would occasionally visit, leaving only money, while his mother would leave him behind, to spend every night with a different man. Furthermore, she began contributing her income and the living expenses provided by Jeremy to a bar club. As a result, their daily life seemed to be constantly in a state of extreme poverty. Despite that, she couldn't stop contributing to the host club. She even came up with the idea of having Cairo imitate accidents to earn money.
When I get hit by a car, That's the only time my mom is nice to me. She praises me, buys me a cake, and says, "Well done." So, I always listened to what she said, because I wanted my mom to be happy.
According to what I heard, he had deliberately caused several car accidents under his mother's instructions. This recent accident was also carried out under her order. However, it is literally a life-threatening act. While he usually timed it to only result in minor injuries, this time he couldn't avoid being hit head-on. Fortunately, there were no life-threatening injuries, but for the first time, he felt a great fear and decided he never wanted to do such a thing again. He thought he would explain the situation to Jeremy, asking if he could increase the money they receive. That's why he shared my husband's number with the hospital.
But you must be angry, right? I'm sorry. I've always been told by everyone that I'm the child of an affair, so I somehow understood that I shouldn't exist. But being poor and hungry is tough, and getting intentionally run over by a car is painful and scary.
Cairo quietly shed tears, and my heart ached. Discovering Jeremy had an affair and secret child was shocking, and I couldn't hide the sense of betrayal. However, seeing this young boy going through such harsh treatment right in front of me. If he were my son, I would immediately cook his favorite dishes and make sure he eats until he's full. I would protect him without causing any pain.
I'm not angry. You haven't done anything wrong.
Strangely, I felt a kind and gentle emotion. Perhaps it was because he looked so much like my late son, Mark.
I'll come pick you up on the day you're discharged. I want to help you. Is that okay?
Taking Cairo's hand, I gently made a promise. I was determined to help this child. And after a while, Cairo was able to be discharged safely. Initially, he hesitated to talk to the police. No matter what mistreatment he faced, a parent is precious. Instinctively protecting them might be natural. Still, despite any guilt he felt, I wanted him to overcome it.
Going to the police will benefit your mom too. You wouldn't want her to commit any more crimes, right?
He nodded in agreement to my persuasion and thoroughly explained everything he had experienced to the police officer, who took the case seriously and showed compassion to Cairo. This matter will apparently be subject to further investigation. After returning from the police station, when I escorted Cairo home, laughter echoed from inside the house. Upon ringing the doorbell, to my surprise, Jeremy answered.
Well, Rory. Why? And with Cairo. Why?
Confused and with wide eyes, he seemed to be panicking about being caught in the affair. However, his affair was now inconsequential to me, as there were more unforgivable things. Upon forcefully entering the room, I found his affair partner lying in disarray. She turned out to be Cairo's mother.
I heard everything from Cairo. You made your child imitate accidents to earn money, correct? What? Lady, what's your problem? Annoying.
The drunken affair partner burst into laughter while making a bombshell statement.
What I do with my kid is my business. I gave birth to him, so he owes me a favor.
Cairo looked down with a sad expression. Intense anger welled up within me. How could someone subject a child to such suffering, especially after my beloved son had passed away after a long battle with illness?
A child's life belongs to the child. It's wrong for parents to force dangerous things on them for their own convenience. I'm sorry, but I couldn't overlook it for Cairo's sake, so I went to the police. Huh.
Jeremy and his affair partner exchanged pale glances.
Cairo, did you betray Mom?
Accused vehemently, Cairo averted his face. The affair partner, enraged, tried to resort to violence against him.
Stop it.
Desperately shielding him, I faced the enraged woman. Cairo, with a frightened expression, held back tears.
You fool! You betrayed your mom who gave birth to you, and snitched to the police, under the command of this woman. You shouldn't have been born.
The final words were too much for me to bear. I stood between Cairo and her, and as we confronted each other, the sound of sirens suddenly reached us. Without warning, police officers rushed in and entered the room.
It took some time for the investigation, but while looking into the past accidents caused by that boy, it was revealed that he had willingly jumped into them. A parent making their child imitate accidents to extort compensation and insurance money. How much did you earn? Can you tell us more at the station? Let go.
Jeremy and the affair partner, causing a ruckus, were taken away by the police. Holding Cairo, who was trembling and shedding tears, I simply gazed at his state. Later on, my husband and his affair partner were charged with insurance fraud and other crimes, and they were convicted. Neither of them showed any remorse or apologized to their son Cairo until the end. It's a sad story, but toxic parents do exist in the world. Children not loved by their parents will likely carry deep scars throughout their lives. However, I can only hope that Cairo overcomes those scars and becomes stronger. Naturally, I divorced Jeremy. I received a substantial amount in compensation, including for the affair. After his release, he was also estranged from both sets of parents, lost his job, and seemed to be wandering with no direction. It's no longer my concern. Subsequently, Cairo was taken in by relatives and is said to be living a peaceful life. Secretly exchanging contact information, we've planned to go shopping together. Walking with him, I felt that the emotional wounds from losing my son were healing, if only a little. Cairo graciously accepts whenever I invite him for a shopping or eating.
It feels like I'm taking care of Mark, and it makes me happy. I'm sorry for stealing your time. It's okay. Being with you, Rory, feels like going out and having fun. If we can heal each other's wounds, isn't it a win-win?
Cairo smiled innocently. Surely, a happy future awaits us from now on.